Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name PUTERI NURADILLA Damia BINTI MAHADI and I am from TESA 2. Today, I will talk about PPPM and the new plan RPM. Before I start the presentation, let's all watch this video.
For decades, being a good student meant absorbing as much content as possible. Success was a high score on a paper. But 2035 demands more. The RPM shifts the focus from what you know to who you are. We are nurturing the Insan Sejahtera, a balanced human. It starts with Adab ethics as the foundation. Then we add the resilience to fail and try again, and the skills to lead in a high-tech global economy. This is the result, a balanced human with global wings, rooted in Malaysian values but ready to shape the world. This is our future. Join us on this exciting journey as we explore what Insan Sejahtera means for the next generation in education and how we can impact the world.
Before we look forward, we must look back. For the last 13 years, the Malaysia Education Blueprint PPPM 2013-2025 was our roadmap. It was a massive undertaking. Its primary success: we built schools, we modernized classrooms, and we ensure that almost every child in Malaysia, regardless of geography, had a seat in a classroom. We fixed the hardware of our education system. We standardized our curriculum to ensure no one left behind. So, why it changed? But a seat in a classroom is only half the battle. The PPPM was designed in a world before the massive AI, before a global pandemic shifted our social fabric, and before the gig economy changed how we work. We realized that while our students were in school, they were often being trained for a world that was disappearing, a world that valued memorization over application. So, the RPM 2026-2035 is our response to this shift. It moves the focus from access to meaningful quality. Standardized versus flexible. This is the core of this transition. Keluasan or flexibility under the PPM. The system was highly centralized to ensure a baseline standard, but the RPM recognized that a student in an urban tech hub has different needs than a student in a rural farming community. We are moving from a one-size-fits-all model to a flexible framework. This allows us as educators to act as mentors rather than just policy implementers. We are moving from a teaching subject to teaching a human. So, if the PPPM gave us the house, the RPM is now giving us the soul of that house. It transitions our goal from just success to sejahtera. It's not just about what a student knows anymore, but it's about who they become. So today, we are discussing the most significant document in Malaysia, education for the next decade. As we stand at the finish line of the 2013-2025 blueprint, we aren't just looking at a new plan. We are looking at a survival guide for the mid-21st century. We have done well in the last decade, especially in getting children into schools. But the post-pandemic world is different. Technology is faster, and the job market is unpredictable. So, RPM 2026-2035 is the reset that we need to stay competitive globally. Why change a system that seems to be working? If you look at the data from the previous decade, we have plenty to be proud of. We achieved a 99% enrollment rate in primary education. Logistically, we succeed. We build the schools, we provide the desks, and we got the children into the buildings. But as we move toward 2035, we have to admit a difficult truth. Being present in a classroom is not the same as being prepared for the future. While our schools are full, our global performance indicators, specifically the PISA, Program for International Student Assessment scores, tell a deeper story. These scores are the blood test of an education system. They don't just measure if a student can remember a formula, but they measure if a student can apply that formula into to solve a real-world problem. Currently, our results suggest a knowledge to application gap. We are producing students who are excellent at memorizing facts or for an exam, but who often struggle when faced with non-routine problems, the kind of complex math challenges that define a high-income economy. At the heart of this is insan sejahtera, or we call this the balanced and harmonious human. For too long, we prioritize the A on the paper. This plan flips the script. It says character, ethics is the foundation. If a student is brilliant at coding but lacks of ethics or emotional resilience, so they are not ready for the challenges of 2035. In the 2035 landscape, knowledge is the commodity. You can find it in a second on your phone, but application, the ability to think critically, to synthesize information, and to innovate is the new gold standard. The RPM 2026-2035 is our strategic bridge across the gap. We are moving away from an exam-oriented culture where we measure success by the number of A's on a slip of paper toward a competency-based culture. We are shifting the focus from what did you learn today to what can you do with what you learned today. This transformation is non-negotiable. If we want to become a high-income nation, we don't just need more graduates, but we need more thinkers, more problem solvers, and more innovators. The RPM is the blueprint that ensures our 99% enrollment is matched. How does a balanced human become a global citizen? A global citizen is someone with a Malaysian heart but a global mindset. They are proficient in English, tech-savvy, and understand global issues like climate change. So, the RPM aims to ensure that our graduates can walk into a boardroom in London or a tech hub in Singapore and be a leader, not just followers. The ministry has identified 5 strategic levers that will drive every decision from 2026 to 2035: quality, access, efficiency, sustainability, and flexibility. Now, let's talk about why flexibility is a game changer. For decades, education has often felt like a one-size-fits-all assembly line. We had a rigid curriculum, a fixed pace, and a standardized way of doing things. But as we know, a classroom in rural Terengganu has very different needs, challenges, and strengths compared to a classroom in the heart of Kuala Lumpur. So, by pulling the level of flexibility, the ministry is making a bold statement. They are trusting us. This shift moves us away from being delivery agents who simply read from a script toward being architects of learning. Flexibility gives educators the professional autonomy to adapt. It means if your students learn better through hands-on projects rather than traditional lectures, you have the space to pivot. If your students are ready for advanced AI concepts, but the textbook is 3 years behind, you have the mandate to bring in fresh resources. It's all about agility. In a world that changes every 6 months, a rigid system is a brittle system. A flexible system, however, is a resilient one. It allows us to differentiate our instruction, meeting every student exactly where they are rather than where a manual says they should be. But with this autonomy comes a new level of responsibility. We aren't just teaching a subject anymore. We are managing a dynamic environment. We are using data and empathy to decide what works best for our specific group of students. This is the end of the factory model of education and the beginning of personalized human-centric era. By pulling these 5 levers, and especially the lever of flexibility, the RPM is empowering us to turn every classroom into a lab of innovation. The first 3 drivers focus on the hardware. We are targeting 100% universal access to education, from preschool to upper secondary. But access is meaningless without quality. So, we are revamping the curriculum to be competency-based, meaning we assess what a student can do, not just what they can remember. And the most exciting drivers are flexibility and sustainability. For the first time, schools will have more autonomy. As educators, we can adapt our methods to fit our local community's needs. Furthermore, sustainability is being woven into the very fabric of school life, from the curriculum to how the school building operates. The 5 drivers we just discussed provide this momentum, but the 7 pillars are the structural foundation. While all 7 are vital for the nation, as educators and teacher trainees, there are 3 pillars that will define our careers over the next decade. Now, let's take a look at Pillar 3, Transforming Educators. This is perhaps the most personal pillar for everyone, especially for teacher trainees. The RPM 2026-2035 acknowledge a fundamental truth: no education system can rise above the quality of its teachers. But transformation here doesn't just mean attending more workshops. It means a complete shift in our identity. We are moving away from being the sage on the stage, the sole source of information, toward becoming high-performing mentors. In a world where AI can provide facts instantly, our value lies in our ability to inspire, to facilitate critical thinking, and to provide the emotional support that a machine cannot. So, this pillar is about empowering us with digital pedagogy and leadership skills, ensuring that being a teacher in Malaysia is a prestigious, high-impact profession. But even the best teacher needs the right tools, which bring us to pillar number 4, school infrastructure. We cannot prepare students for a 2035 economy using 1995 technology. The pillar is about more than just painting walls or fixing roofs. It's about creating smart learning environment. The RPM envisions classrooms that are digitally hot, where high-speed internet is a right, not a luxury, and where AI-integrated tools help us track students' progress in real time. It's about building spaces that are sustainable, green, and flexible enough to support the collaborative learning that we want to see. Finally, we have Pillar 5, Synergy. For too long, teachers have felt like they are on an island, carrying the weight of the nation's future alone. Pillar 5 ends that isolation. It's about building a bridge between the school, the home, and the industry. Synergy means that when we teach STEM, we have local industries providing real world problems for our students to solve. It means parents are no longer just visitors on report card day, but also an active partner in the Insan Sejahtera's journey. When the school, the community, and the private sector work in synergy, the burden on the teacher is shared and the opportunities for the students are multiplied. These three pillars, transforming our staff, upgrading our space, and strengthening our partnerships, what will turn the visions of the RPM into living reality in our schools. It sounds easy for a plan this big to feel like a dream, a collection of beautiful words on a page, but the RPM 2026-2035 is grounded in reality. It is backed by 49 high-impact initiatives, specific, measurable projects designed to change the landscape of our economy. Perhaps the most radical shift in this plan is the move toward TVET parity. For too long, there has been a prestige gap in Malaysia. We have often viewed vocational and technical education as a plan B for those who didn't fit into the academic mold. That ends now. The RPM is designed to make a TVET qualification just as prestigious, just as valuable, and just as respected as a traditional university degree. Why? Because the 2035 economy doesn't just need people who can talk about theories, it needs people who can build, innovate, and maintain the complex system of the future. Yes, we are talking about high-end robotics, sustainable agriculture, and renewable energy system. By integrating TVET with industry-recognized certifications, we are ensuring our vocational students are the high-income professionals of tomorrow, not just workers, but specialists and masters of their craft. At the same time, we are doubling down on STEM. We are currently in the thick of fourth industrial revolution, where AI, biotechnology, and the Internet of Things are rewriting the rules of existence. To lead this revolution, our students cannot just be consumers of technology, they must be the creators. The RPM focus on STEM isn't just about more science classes, it's about a STEM literate society. It's about teaching a student to look at a problem, whether it's a clogged irrigation system in a village or a data security breach in a bank, and use the logic of science and the power of technology to find a solution. So, by elevating TVET and strengthening STEM, the RPM is building a full spectrum workforce. We are ensuring that no matter where a student's talent lies, whether in a lab or the workshop, there is a high impact, prestigious path waiting for them. We are moving from a nation that assembles to a nation that invents. So, by 2035, we aim to reduce the achievement gap by 70%. This is an ambitious goal, but as a trainees, teacher, and educators, we are the primary engines of this change. The RPM 2026-2035 is our compass. Let's use it to guide our students toward becoming the balanced, harmonious, and global citizens our nation deserves. That is all from me. Thank you for watching.